There are ones who claim to have seen it, some who claim to have played it. There are even those who claim to have been in possession of the game. Yet, even after decades with no conclusive evidence, it still remains a mystery, a myth, an urban legend. The game in question being Polybius, said to have appeared out of thin air in a select few arcades in Portland, Oregon, and then disappear as mysteriously as it had appeared. Till this day, no solid evidence has been found that the game even ever existed, and the slight evidence we do have could not be ruled out of being fabricated. This has left the topic up to interpretation and theories that range from the game being a cancelled project to sophisticated secret intelligence plots to gather information. Yet, due to no conclusive evidence, it has still not been definitely proven if the game was real or just a hoax that spread too far. Before getting into the video, I'd quickly like to ask you to subscribe to the channel as it helps out a lot. I'm trying to reach 200 subscribers by the end of the month, and while you're at it, leave a like and share the video as well. Thank you. On to the video. The game takes inspiration for its name from the ancient historian Polybius from Arcadia in Greece. The name is derived from the Greek words poly and bios, literally meaning many and life. The cabinet was said to be painted with a simplistic black color, and the controls only had a singular button and a joystick. These controls, even at that time, were pretty simplistic. Despite this, those who claim to have played the game describe it as being extremely addictive, almost as if the game was pulling you towards itself each time you walked past it. The game is also said to have caused memory loss, blackouts, seizures, and hallucinations. As for the gameplay, there is no footage available anywhere on the internet, just pure speculations and fan-made interpretation of what the game may have looked like. Although the general consensus is that the game had something to do with geometrical shapes dancing around the screen and had puzzle-based elements, although it's doubtful how much the game could have been able to achieve in gameplay with such simplistic controls. One of the only existing visual records of the game first appeared in 2000 on the site coinop.org. Since then, quite a few claims of actual Polybius cabinets have been posted online, but most of them have been debunked and the rest are suspicious. Coinop.org was a database for arcade games and is said to be the basis of the myth surrounding the game. The author of the post posted a singular screenshot of the starting screen of the game and nothing else, and claimed that he held the ROM of the game. The screenshot itself is quite simplistic, containing only 3 things: the name of the game Polybius in bold fonts, the year of release 1981, and the name of the company that made it, Sinneslotion. The name of the company is made from the German words Sinnes and Lotion, which respectively means sense and delete, but it isn't spelled right. The word by how you would write it in German would be spelled Sinnlotion. Upon a quick Google search about the company, it becomes evident that it probably never existed. There are no records about the company anywhere or any mentions of any other games built by them. In 2006, a man named Stephen Roach claimed to be one of the game's original programmers. He said that the game had been developed with cutting-edge graphics, but it was withdrawn from arcades when a boy experienced epileptic seizures. Although this is probably false, as no proof of being employed at the company was ever provided. Not to mention that making an arcade game would have been quite hard for supposedly a company that had just started up. After all the arcade manufacturers were established giants. The literal meaning of the name being sense delete fits more into the theme of the myth. The most prominent of the conspiracy theories all have the involvement of government agencies in some ways or the other. It is said that men in black suits would periodically come and inspect the arcade machines and collect data from them. There are theories suggesting that the game was an attempt by the government to test the effects of mind control on the general population. The ones who back this claim bring up the point about people allegedly being hooked to the game for hours at an end, losing any sense of time while playing it, and even suffering serious medical issues like constant hallucinations and blackout, would still return to the game again and again. There are also those who claim that instead of it being a full-fledged government operation, it was a bunch of rogue Secret Services employees that were testing new technology out on the general public, backed by the same claims as before. There is another claim that makes a tad bit more sense than the mind control and Harry Potter did it. That is the claim that the game was set to locate and monitor drug trafficking and gambling. You see, raids in arcades were becoming quite a common instance back then, as a lot of them were getting busted for being cover-ups for drug cartels, having rigged lottery machines, and artificially setting high scores on games. The theory goes that Polybius arcades were set up as dedicated devices to monitor arcades and bust the malicious practices that may be going around in there. And once they had done their work, they were removed as silently as they were installed. Whether any of this is true or not is and probably will always be up for debate, but the likelihood of the game being real isn't really that high. This comes mainly of the fact that even though the game is said to have come out in 1981, not a single news article or magazine reports any such incidents of a game named Polybius or any other game that had mysterious disappearance or any similarities to the case of Polybius. The case of Polybius also has striking resemblance to the Men in Black conspiracy that spread roughly during the same period of time as the 80s. The first mention of the game that could be found is 1994 on a site named Usnet Sierra. No mentions before that, so it's most likely that the game was a hoax. As for the people who claim to have played it, they could be experiencing something like the Mandela effect, where a large group of people remember something but in reality it never existed. Perhaps their memories could have been twisted a bit. In 1981, a kid in Oregon attempted to beat the high score on the game Asteroids and ended up playing the game for 28 hours straight. He got severe stomach pain from the amount of soft drinks and food he had eaten during this time. During the same day, a few people had reported migraine headaches while playing the game Tempest. And only 10 days later to these incidents, the Federal Bureau of Investigation raided several arcades inspecting drug cartels. Perhaps the people are remembering these events but not in great details, hence confusing it with Polybius. In 2003, Kurt Kohler, the owner of CoinOp.org, submitted an article on Polybius to the video game magazine GamePro. The article was published with the name Secret and Lies. This was the first time the myth had been acknowledged by mainstream media. Since then, it has gained quite a bit of attention. It has even been featured in popular shows like The Simpsons or Marvel's Loki in the first episode. Many attempts at recreating the game have also been done, including one by the man who claimed to be employed at Cineslotion, Stephen Roach. In 2007, under his company Rogue Synapses, he released the game with the same name as Polybius that was similar to the 2D shooter Star Castle on his website cineslotion.com. This again was just an attempt at what the game may have looked like if it ever existed, like the few that were before and like the many that have been since after. In conclusion, the game Polybius is a fascinating piece of gaming folklore that has captured the imagination of many conspiracy theorists for decades. While the game may have never existed, its legends live on. Whether or not the game was ever a part of a government experiment would probably never be answered, but the story would continue to fascinate for generations to come. And that pretty much covers everything up. Hope you liked the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps out a lot. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.